Hey, what's going on everyone, and welcome back to once again another Warzone video. Today I'm going to be talking about the things that I've learned with winning 40 Warzone games. I'll have a screenshot of my stats on screen just to prove how many wins I have. At the time of recording this video, I have 38 wins, but that screenshot will say 40 or 41 if I get a few wins within the next hour here. This video is going to be the things I've learned on how to win the game. In the past on the channel, I've made a how to win Warzone games video, so I'm going to try and pick new things to let you know that I've recently learned since then, as well as some other things that I've learned in previous videos that I've advanced on. So if you guys want to see those old videos and old strategy guides on how to level up fast, how to get to the final zone before everyone else, how to win Warzone games, those will be all linked in the description below. So I'm going to try and keep it all fresh and brand new for you. The first thing first is I want to get out of the way. It's not all sunshine and rainbows within Warzone. There's lots of times where you're going to get frustrated, your team's going to get frustrated, you're going to argue and bicker, but you just got to get over it and move on to the next. There's going to be times where your teammates cause you to lose the game and you're going to get mad at them for it. And there's also going to be times when you cause your teammates the game and they're going to get mad at you for it. A good thing to do when this happens is in the pre-game lobby or when you're waiting for a queue to find a game, take a quick breather, just take that 2 minutes to cool down, refocus yourself, recenter yourself, communicate with your team. Maybe if it was your fault, say sorry. Maybe if it was the other player's fault or another person on the team's fault, just discuss what we would like to see better and give them constructive criticism without being too toxic and move on to the next. Me and my team that I run with Flash and Rectify, we all the time will get frustrated and argue, but we always manage to move on to the next game or fix what we did wrong. Say we split up too much while rushing a team, and then because we're so split up, that team ends up wiping us. Next time, we'll push really close together, and then we'll end up winning that next time. It's just all team dynamics, especially in trios and eventually squads and eventually duos. This doesn't really apply to solo because solo is basically how confident you are within Warzone, but for team-based trios, you're going to want to have a good team that you can connect with, not only personally, but can connect with in-game, and you know what they're doing and they know what you're doing, so you can help each other out in certain situations. Which ties into one thing that I've learned is, if you can, with a group of friends, whether it be friends on PlayStation, Xbox, Discord, PC, Activision, real life friends, regardless, find a good squad, because once you have a good squad that you play with all the time in Warzone, your chances of winning are going to go way up because you're just going to get more experience as a squad. Think of it as a team sport or just a team activity. The more you work together as a team, the more you learn and the better off you'll be. Other things that I've learned in Warzone is that you have to be confident while doing stuff, whether that be looting or getting in a gunfight. If you are more confident, you will make better decisions. If you are less confident and get in panics when you are getting shot at, even if you're the last alive, if you panic, you can put yourself in a dangerous situation. If you see a squad rush across the street and you see them but they don't see you, if you panic, you might start shooting at them. But if you're calm and collective, you might be able to let them pass, get high ground, or just evade the situation in general to be able to go to a buy station and buy back your team or something to clutch the game. You just have to be confident, calm, and collected. Just like most things where there is lots of toxicity like this, that will also help, because in the gulag, which is a high stress situation where it's you versus one other person and only one is going to come out of that on top, which will respawn back into the game, the more confident you are, the more you're going to make the other person panic, because if you rush really fast in the gulag and end up just catching them off guard, they're gonna panic and you will have like a 90% chance of killing them. I know this personally because at the beginning of the game I sucked in the gulag. I probably won 50% of my games, but now I'm winning like 90% of my gulag matches. Another thing you're going to want to have in Blackout, regardless of what strategy it is a solid plan or strategy at the beginning of the game in the pre-game warm-up lobby. Once you see the path that the plane is going to fly with your team, or if you're playing solo, get a strategy down where you're going to land, and once that circle appears on the minimap, once you start flying into the map, know where your plan is going to take place, know where you're going to move. If you are going to get circle intel to see where the circle will finish, find a good area with lots of flags and then narrow down the circle to the final circle. If you're just going to loot and try and get money as soon as possible, go to an area of the map where you want to plan that. Having a plan will help you so much within Warzone. If you just go in blind and then just loot and just kind of with no strategy at all, just go into it, you're gonna die in some pretty dumb ways, whether that be campers or tryhards or just you crash your vehicle into a tree or something like that. Just having a plan will help you tenfold. I've won so many games with plans rather than without. The team I run with now with Flash and Rectify, we win 2 to 3 out of every 5 games we play. So we'll win back to back, we'll lose, we'll win, we'll lose, then we'll win back to back again. We might lose a few back to back and then we'll win again. Having that plan will just benefit you overall. Also, one thing I've learned is sometimes not pushing an enemy is the best thing to do. If there is a team in an area that you are in and they are fighting someone or another team, or you see another team pushing them, maybe just sit back and watch how that fight takes place. If you see 2 squads of 3 start fighting each other, odds are one squad's gonna die or lose a couple players. So instead of 6 enemies being there that you're gonna have to worry about, once that fight's over, there might be 2 left from one team. So that puts you at an advantage of 3 versus 2. And they will be weak because they will have just gotten into a battle. So you can 3rd party them or 4th party them or 5th party them depending on how many teams push. I'm saying this from personal experience because I've been that team that has pushed an enemy, ended up winning but losing a squad member or 2, and then being 3rd partied, winning that 3rd party, and then being 4th partied or sandwiched in between 2 other teams. So sometimes the best thing to do is hold back, know your surroundings, use your heartbeat sensors and UAVs to your advantage to know where enemies are at all times. Obviously, you're not going to want to spam UAVs because those are expensive, but you're just going to want to have a gauge on where enemies are just to put yourself in good situations. And I know I've mentioned this in the How to Win Games Before video, whatever it was called, but you're going to want the high ground in those final few circles. Having the high ground in the early game isn't that much of a big deal because there's lots of vehicles and there's lots of loot still, and you can get yourself out of a sticky situations. But when those circles start contracting and getting smaller and smaller, having the high ground is important because you will have the initial advantage at the beginning of every gunfight. There are some times when the team with the low ground will win, but most times I've noticed that the team with the high ground will win. If you have the low ground and you want to get a jump on the team with the high ground, precision airstrikes, grenades, C4, cluster strikes are all good tools to use because they're high damage and high blast radius will force that team off the high ground. Also, another good thing to do is to know where people are in the final circle. I'll show a clip on screen if it already hasn't played of me and my team in the final circle. I used a recon drone, which can even see people if they have cold-blooded, so you can ping them for your team if you have excellent communication, as well as it can just mark players without cold-blooded, and you can know where everyone was. So in the scenario we were in, I called in the recon drone when we had the highest ground in the final circle. There was 3 teams down the hill to our right fighting, all in some weird 3-party battle, and then to the left, down the other side of the hill, there was 2 teams fighting over a shed. We did not engage this because 1, it's kind of dumb to engage when it's 2 of us and there's 6 people on one side fighting and 8 people on the other side fighting, but knowing that intel is important where enemies are. This caused us to know where both teams were, or I guess all 5 teams at the time were, so we could strategize really quickly, say we're going to push right first, and then we're going to push left, which ended up winning us the game. The teams down on the right, when I called in my cluster strike, died. 1 ended up escaping the cluster strike, pushing up the hill. We killed him very fast. On the left, only 1 team won, and then they started to push us to try and gain high ground, but because we had high ground, we had the situation under control and ended up getting an easy win, probably one of the easiest wins we've had in that area by Arklov Peak and the dam in general. That's going to be the video today of what I've learned within 40 wins. I'm going to be making future videos on this when I get to 75 wins, when I get to 100 wins. I'll be doing more of these because Warzone's a learning experience and you learn as you go, as well as there's got to be new things that happen in the game in between now and 100 wins that are going to change. So I hope you guys did enjoy. Leave a like if you liked, dislike if you didn't. Subscribe if you guys want to see more content like this or future Damascus guides or future Warzone guides, whatever it may be. I'm about to head out, and if there is one, I'll see you in the next one. By the way, check the description, Discord link to join the Discord to play Warzone with us. All right, peace.